I'm Manveen Rana, Innovations Editor here at Hub Culture at Davos 2024, and I'm joined by one of our partners this year. This is Tim Murphy, Chief Administrative Officer at Mastercard. And Tim, Mastercard have had a huge presence right in the middle of Davos. Tell us how it's gone.
I mean, it's been an extraordinary week, and we are so grateful for our partnership with Hub Culture and how you've helped us make this such an impactful week for our company with all of the convenings and so on. Here's what I'd say. It's been a very exciting Davos, huge focus on artificial intelligence, and I think we've learned a lot. Our entire delegation who's here has found rich conversations and that will help guide our strategy going forward, and that's really powerful. But you know, the thing about Mastercard is that we have a wide agenda, and so we've used this week to talk about our leadership on financial inclusion, we've used it to talk about sustainable consumption, we've used it to talk about cyber, and we've used it to build partnerships with governments and with our clients around the world. And the special thing about this place is you can do it all in once in a couple of days. Yeah. Not a lot of sleep, but you get a lot done.
You speak to so many people,
yes,
all in the same place. For you, what are the real lessons you're going to be taking away from this Davos?
So I think the first lesson is the main topic of the Davos has been AI. And, you know, I look at it and think there's a lot, we are at a very bubbly part of the cycle here. There's a ton of energy. I suspect over the next year, we will learn where AI and Gen AI work and as they can be deployed in our business and where maybe our current solutions are better. And that maturation of the AI conversation will be a really interesting thing going forward. As I said, we learned a lot this year. And then the other thing is just the critical importance for Mastercard of our ESG work and in particularly driving forward our sustainability strategy. The urgency of the moment is real. We know because we have 3 billion cardholders around the world that we can make a positive impact. And I think the call to actions here were very strong this year.
I mean, climate is one of the biggest topics every year at Davos, and certainly was this year. For you, there is a sense that, you know, ESG, that companies have been rowing back a bit or not talking about it as much. For you, did it feel like there was real momentum behind it? And what were the surprises for you on climate?
It's a great question. Here's what I would say. You know, there has clearly been a pushback on some ESG from some measures, largely in the United States. But the thing about Davos, again, it reminds you so often, is that this is a global convening. And I think the energy around taking action to reverse or mitigate the impact of humans on the climate, that continues to be a powerful agenda around the world. So we heard maybe a little bit more quietly, but the same amount of energy, the same amount of desire to drive effective change and real calls to action that I think have expanded in scope. And while so much of our work has been on issues like climate change, net zero commitment and keeping the world within the 1.5 or 2% boundary, the reality is there are other issues, biodiversity loss, impact on nature overall, where I think our platform can also have positive impacts. And so, you know, concern, but also optimism. And what I love about Davos is talking to the most expert people, the people who know the most about climate change and who should and are the most worried also remain optimistic.
We came into this Davos session with the world more unstable than ever. Are you leaving with a sense of optimism, or is it quite alarming?
So I'm leaving it optimism for the moment. I will say geopolitics have been surprisingly muted this week, even though they're one of the major...
Because everyone's here in Davos.
Everyone's here in Davos. There's no one... Yes, there's nothing can go wrong. And so I think, yes, I am leaving more optimistic. I'm leaving optimistic that the environmental sustainability agenda can be delivered. I'm optimistic that people are talking about AI in the context of good governance. And I have a sense that there's a lot of institutions that are going to work hard to continue to keep the world knitted together in productive ways, even as geopolitics fragments further. We should expect further fragmentation, but we should also expect civil society, corporations, and others to stand up to do their part to maintain the connections. And for a company like Mastercard, who connects consumers and merchants around the world, we're going to play our part too.
Well, thank you for bringing us a sense of optimism from Davos this week. Tim Murphy, I'm Manveen Rana.